Those of you guys that don't know me, I'm an exchange student here at SKKU. I'm from Dallas, Texas, and fortunately and unfortunately, I'll be leaving you guys before the end of this month. But I cannot remember if this is my second or third time sharing my testimony. But I do like to share, first of all, I cannot quite remember if I shared before, but I guess my story of how I came to decide to come to Korea in the first place. And it all started in the very beginning of this year. So I just had this desire to go, just to study abroad, to go to other nations, to just have an experience different from home. Not that I don't like home, but just to get out every now and then, to see the world, to get a clearer perspective, better understanding of what is going on around me, not being so trapped inside of a bubble. And so I decided to talk with my education abroad advisor, and she gave me like the applications for the work for me to do to study abroad. And so I filled them out and gave it to her, and then I got news saying that there's only one open position and there's 3 other people who are applying to come here to this university. And for me, I actually felt pretty discouraged. And so I was for the most part expecting to not just go to begin with, but then I got an email one day saying, "Congratulations, you just got accepted into the study abroad program." And so it was very encouraging. But then shortly afterwards, that's when I experienced a lot of the spiritual warfare, some of the I guess some of the attacks that I had from Satan, whether they're mental or can't quite say, but just in particular reason, like one of the old habits that I used to have that I put away with came back, and also just having difficulty of knowing who I am in Christ. Because for a lot of the time after I was saved, I just kind of lived without having a full realization of who God calls me to be. More often I thought of myself the way other people would think of me, the way the world sees me, and not so much in the perspective God sees me. But it wasn't until I came here to Korea, developing spiritual discipline, seeing what God has done through this country, which to this day I think is a miracle, that from a time where the first missionary was unfortunately beheaded, to a nation that's full of God-loving people. And also especially doing ministry here and doing evangelism and growing spiritually here, I've also, a lot of the weaknesses, a lot of the problems that I had became more apparent. And even as of now, I'm still trying to deal with them, bringing it up to the cross on a daily basis. But if there's one thing I do wish and to encourage is for every one of us each day to just look to always ask God, who do you say I am, Lord? Who do you see me? Because for me, a lot of times I end up thinking of myself as somebody who doesn't have much talent. I see myself as being too ordinary. Or if I was with a group of people and only a few of us were to be chosen to be in some sort of program or whatnot, I wouldn't be surprised if they chose other people, not me. But the thing is that and we all know that God, if He is above us, if He is the supreme ruler of the universe, and the fact that if He were to choose me, which I frankly can still have a hard time comprehending, then I know He can choose and use anybody to carry out His purposes on this earth. Like, you don't have to be qualified. God qualifies those who are chosen. And I want this to be a story, but also a word of encouragement for you guys, especially since Paul tells us to encourage one another and edify one another in the church. Thank you.